Hello and welcome to Jill Cameron Creations. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss a single thing. And today we are going to be looking at one background die plate, and this one's from Catherine Pooler. And we are going to make 5 different backgrounds. And I'm not really focused on the finished cards as much. I do make them into cards, but I'm not focusing on that finished card product as much as I am the techniques that I'm using. So of course, the first one that I'm going to show you is just die cutting the simple background die and popping all the pieces out. Now, I do cut out more than one. I will always cut out more than one unless I'm planning on putting a lot of more dimension on top of it. The second thing that I'm going to do is actually emboss that image, and I use a Spellbinders Platinum 6, and the stack sandwich is on the base plate. So you'll want to put the die face up, paper, matte, purple plate, and run it through. And then you'll take it off the plate, and it's going to have a lot of texture to it and a lot of dimension. You can see where it almost cut through in a couple places, and that's perfectly fine. It doesn't pop all the way through. Now I'm going to show you how to increase that dimension in just a minute. Now the third thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my Glimmer hot foil machine and put the image on my cardstock with the die. So what you're going to do, and unfortunately I thought I had zoomed out right here, but I didn't. So what we're going to do is you put the die down, you put the paper down, you put the die down, you put the foil down, you put the paper on top of it, and you do it just like you normally would, and there's your great outline for that. And then I just trim it down to the edge. And the next thing that we're going to do is actually take a little bit more time, and we are going to emboss with embossing paste. So what I did was I took this pattern and I die cut it twice. I took the die and I die cut it twice, and I glued those together because I needed something that was just a tad bit more heavy than a single piece of cardstock. And then I put a little handle on the side of it, and looking back on it now, I shouldn't have put the handle on it. However, if you're not planning on doing the second part of this, then you don't have to, but I made it work anyway. So I put a little handle on it so that I could pick this up, because what we're going to do is actually use this as a stencil. But I also can take the stencil part of it that I'm using and make it into a card front as well. Okay, so this is just paper. It is not, and it's the exact same size as the cardstock that I'm going to use. So in order to make this stick to my paper, I went ahead and did what I usually do with my detailed stencils, and I put a little bit of Zig 2-way glue pen on the back of them. Zig 2-way glue pen is just almost exactly like Tombow Mono, in that if you let it dry before you adhere to it, it's temporary. What I do recommend highly is that you take your little fingers or your anti-static powder tool and put over the back of it so it's not as sticky, because you just want it tacky, you don't want it sticky. So I did this, and I didn't do it all the way around. I just did it in some of the places that were gonna like be popping up and that kind of thing, like the little swirls, etc. I dried it really well, and then I put anti-static powder tool on the back of it so that it's not going to tear my paper when I pick it up. We are going to be using some Creative Effects by Vicki. I want to say her last name is Boutin, but I'm probably mispronouncing that because I'm from Virginia and we tend to simplify things. Okay, so I'm going to put this directly down on my paper, and I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to open this up, and this is a Pearl Oyster Creative Effects, and it's an embossing paste. It's an embossing medium. It's really smooth and creamy. It almost has the texture of icing. That's probably, it's a little thin icing is probably a really good example of this. I put it all over the edges of it, and after I was done, and when I pull this apart, I realized that I still have the stencil-y part that I can actually put on the front of a card as well. So this is 2 cards in one. So I have this embossing paste that I'm putting all over the front of absolutely everything here, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's all nice and shimmery and pretty, and I can get 2 cards out of this. And to counter the little handle that I put on there, and I put the handle on there because I needed something to be able to pick it up and not ruin the whole thing. See? Ta-da! Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that beautiful? Ta-da! Pull it off really, really slow. Anything that's around the edge of it, you'll want to take off with your knife so that you make sure that it doesn't stay on there. I trimmed both of these down, and I'm going to put everything on a card front. And I also just used the same sentiment on the front of absolutely everything, and it's super simple. Spread kindness around every day, and just put it on there. Of course, you can add anything that you want to on the fronts of these kinds of cards, but this is 5 different ways that you can use one single die plate and get lots of different uses out of it. I've gotten a lot of questions about the kind of glue that I'm using because there's nothing on the bottle. It is Elmer's Glue All in a needle tip bottle. It is just plain old Elmer's Glue All. It does not wrinkle the paper. It sticks beautifully. It doesn't take forever to dry. It has an amazing price point on it, so I will include that in the link below, as well as my old standby of Nuvo Deluxe Liquid Adhesive. And if you have any questions about anything, let me know. I'm just going to finish putting some card fronts on here and play a little bit of music as I finish that up. Don't forget to head over to the blog. Oh, one thing really quick. I might actually not have to play music. One thing before I forget really quick. I actually made a slimline card envelope that I will be putting on my blog tomorrow. I will make mention of that and link to it, but I wanted to let y'all know, people that watch my videos regular, you'll see that over there tomorrow. And it's a square envelope card instead of a triangular envelope card. I am putting over there so that I use 9 by 4 1/4 for my slimline cards, and I'm making an envelope for that that'll be an SVG that you'll just be able to cut it out and put it over on your board, your scoreboard, and drop in the score lines on it, fold it up, put some adhesive on it, stick a card in it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It is a large envelope, so I will make sure that I include what size paper you need and what size paper you need and all that kind of stuff in that information. So don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. And we are on day 17 of 30 days of cards, so we have a couple more days. Next month, like I've said before, we're going to be doing Christmas in July. And I'm also working on a lot of different projects, including some classes. The Card Maker Society, it did not go over, didn't happen. Nobody really was interested in it, so you live and you learn. And I took all of the content that was in that, and actually 4 days of that was the Father's Day cards that I did. And then I have 3 more things that I pulled out of that are going to be turned into actual classes, and I'll have more information about that next month. A couple other big projects that are coming up that I don't want to talk about yet because they haven't come to fruition. I've still got to work out some things on those. And some exciting news that I'll be sharing with you in the next couple of weeks as well that aren't project related, just some exciting news. So y'all have an amazing day, and definitely work on those die cut plates on those backgrounds because you can get a lot of use out of those.